On today's show, the Chrysler brand is going to get more models. JLR figures out how to make A-pillars invisible, and Renault is experimenting with a two-cylinder engine. All that and more coming right up on Autoline Daily. This is Autoline Daily for December 15th of 2014. The SUV segment keeps getting bigger and bigger. Audi just took the wraps off the new Q7 before it makes its official debut at the Detroit Auto Show next month. The SUV's weight has been slashed by over 700 pounds, which is supposed to boost fuel efficiency by about 25%. It's got several engine options, including a 3-liter gasoline and a 3-liter diesel, plus a 2-liter gasoline engine will be offered in the U.S. and in Asian markets. And the company will offer a plug-in hybrid diesel as well. The Q7 comes with 5 or 7 seats, and even though it's not as long, it's got more interior space than it did before. Volvo is shaking up the way it markets its cars by cutting back on going to auto shows. Eventually, it will just have displays at Geneva, Detroit, and will alternate between Shanghai and Beijing. Volvo will also drastically reduce the number of events it sponsors because it doesn't see the payoff. The company plans to upgrade its dealerships, but it will also start selling cars online, globally. Volvo says it's not trying to replace its dealers, and online sales will actually complement them, but it didn't provide any details on how this is going to work. The Chrysler brand used to aspire to compete with other luxury players, with cars like its iconic Imperial, but those upscale aspirations are being abandoned. Al Gardner, the CEO of the Chrysler brand, tells Autoline that it will now be a mainstream brand aimed at others like Chevrolet, Hyundai, and Toyota. But the Chrysler brand only has 3 models: the 200, the 300, and the Town & Country. That's not nearly enough, but here is what we know is coming. A Chrysler 100 based off the Dodge Dart, a plug-in version of the Town & Country, and a 7-passenger crossover possibly built off the 200. That's still not enough of a lineup to go up against mainstream brands. Me, I'd add at least one more crossover. As we showed you last week, that's the biggest segment and the fastest growing one too. Still to come, Jaguar Land Rover figures out how to make A-pillars invisible, Renault is experimenting with a 2-cylinder diesel, and no one can figure out what's going wrong with those Takata airbags.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, your journey, our passion, and by Dow Automotive Systems, improving durability and increasing design flexibility with Betamate structural adhesives at dowbetamate.com.
To meet rollover safety standards, the A-pillars in today's vehicles are thicker than ever before, and that can obstruct your view. But what if they were invisible? Jaguar Land Rover is developing new technology that would embed a screen on the pillars, showing a video feed from cameras mounted outside the vehicle. While it's still in the development stage, I think it's a pretty cool way to help eliminate blind spots. We've seen 3-cylinder engines make a bit of a comeback recently, but could 2 cylinders be the next big thing? Renault-Nissan just showed off an experimental 2-cylinder diesel that carries the code name Powerful. It's a 2-stroke unit that's both supercharged and turbocharged and makes between 50 or 70 horsepower. The engine would make its way into small vehicle platforms, but Renault says that the performance needs to be improved before it would consider introducing it. 2 weeks ago, I wrote a controversial editorial supporting Takata for fighting against a national recall of defective airbags. Well, here's another reason why Takata is right to fight that recall. No one knows the root cause of the problem. And when I say no one, I mean no one. Over the weekend, BMW, Chrysler, Ford, General Motors, Honda, Mazda, Mitsubishi, Nissan, Subaru, and Toyota all got together in Detroit to share notes and to brainstorm on how to get to the bottom of this. One thing they're even looking at, if off-gassing of plastics in the instrument panel causes a higher level of humidity that could affect the airbag's propellant. But they're not sure. And if you cannot identify the root cause of a problem, you cannot fix it. Hey, did you know that only half of U.S. consumers are even aware that Fiat is selling cars? We'll have more about that coming up next.
Dow Automotive Systems, driving solutions in automotive, commercial transportation, and aftermarket with innovative products like Betamate structural adhesives. Lighter, stronger, safer. DowBetamate.com.
Fiat left the U.S. market back in the early 1980s and just made its return a few years ago. Because it was gone so long, there's a whole generation of buyers that are not familiar with the brand. Matt Davis, the head of product marketing for Fiat North America, was our guest on Autoline After Hours, and he talked about trying to reach those consumers.
That's been the most exciting and probably the most challenging part about this job is trying to get people even aware of what the brand is. We actually got to finally have 50% awareness in the marketplace over the last 3 years, which is a huge step from where we started before in 2011 when we launched the brand. But 50% of my customers are millennials and Gen Xers who, when Fiat left, never knew what Fiat was, and now that they're buying cars, well, to your point on giving customers credit, I mean, there's a lot of people that know the industry, and there's a lot of people that only look at the industry when they're shopping. So we have to continue to educate people on us being back and what we stand for. But we have so many Facebook fans that are out there that we've sold 170,000 cars since we relaunched the brand, and we have so many people that want to be a part of it. So we resonate. It's just now having a vehicle that can fit their lifestyle, that they can actually drive on a daily basis. And that's why we're so excited about this opportunity to bring the 500X here.
Be sure to join us this Thursday for After Hours, where we will be playing the automotive equivalent of Santa Claus, watching who's been naughty and nice and handing out presents or lumps of coal. And that should be a fun show. Anyway, that wraps up today's report. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.